You ready to go?
Okay, immigration is a very controversial topic in today's society and in today's world. And we stand on the side that we think once illegal aliens are found out, they should be deported from the United States. First off, I'm going to start with a personal testimony because my grandparents are from Portugal, and they came over here about 40 years ago, and it took them 1 year and 4 months just to get their working visa, which meant they could come over to the United States and actually work here. And then after that, it took them 11 years just to get their citizenship here, to be able to live here and get their driver's license and vote and that type of stuff. It was not really easy, and it took a lot of time, and it was really hard to be able to go through that process, and the tests they had to take, and the people were very strict about who could come over here and who couldn't. So it was a very difficult process for them, and they came over the right way. And even though it took a lot of time and work, they did make the right decision to come over here legally. I'm going to talk now about crossing the border and how dangerous it can be. A lot of illegal aliens will come over from the Arizona border, and about 3,000 people have just died trying to cross the border. And that's not very safe at all. And it's a very dangerous hazard going through the deserts through Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas in that region. One of the signs that they have along the borders are these caution signs that are saying, watch out for illegal immigrants passing or illegal aliens passing the border, which is not very, I don't know why we have that. I don't think that's very smart of us, but it's very sad that we have to have signs up to let Americans know that watch out, there are illegal people coming over into the country. So that's one of the main points.
Next, we want to talk about the job issue that's currently going on in our nation with every American and even illegal aliens. So how many of you know a little bit about unemployment rates and how that's been a problem in the past few years? Okay. 8.5 million jobs in the nation are occupied by illegal aliens. And in California, 1.8 million jobs are offered to illegal immigrants. In Texas, 1.2 million. And in Florida, 500,000. These are in descending order from greatest to least. We just picked like the top three. These are last reported in March 2013, so we can account for a little bit of varying in the scale, but we assume that it's pretty close to that now. And the unemployment rates in these particular states in America are on the higher end of the scale in looking at our nation in broad terms. And so I think we have to look at what their presence in our country is doing to the American people who were born here and who do have the right to be citizens here and have the right to be employed. And so I think that we need to look at that in the broad scheme of things when saying we're offering our money and a job to people who aren't even supposed to be here.
And now I'm going to talk a little about prostitution, and there's actually a lot of illegal aliens that come over for prostitution. There's actually about 14,000 to 17,000 illegal aliens trafficked every year just for prostitution and stripping and pornography and that type of stuff. And there's a quote on Fair Immigration Issues that says, while anyone can become a victim of trafficking, illegal aliens are highly vulnerable to be trafficked due to a combination of factors, including lack of legal status and protections, limited language skills, and employment options, poverty and immigration-related deaths, and social isolation. Prisons nowadays actually have a lot of illegal immigrants in their jails. There's in Arizona, in Maricopa County Jail, there's 22% of that jail is compromised of illegal aliens. And we're paying for these people to have food, to a place to be. In Florida, in Collier County Jail, is compromised of 20 to 22% of illegal aliens. In Colorado, in Weld County Jail, there's about 12 to 15% illegal aliens in that jail. And in Illinois, in Lake County Jail, there are about 19% illegal aliens in that jail. And you can look at these, and about each of these has a ton of illegal immigrants staying in those jails that we are paying for that. And there are a lot that aren't even in jail that are just living in those areas that we don't even know about. And this was recorded a couple years ago, so they could vary a little bit going up or down. Taxpayers are paying for these illegal immigrants to be being housed and fed. Sending these illegal aliens home would be one step to fix our economy and not have to pay for them staying here.
Just going back to the whole prison situation, I want you to focus on the fact that these are just the statistics in county jails and not the entire state. So if we took an average of the entire state, they would also vary, possibly becoming greater. One of the arguments that's used to keep illegal immigrants here is that the naturalization test, the test that you take to become a U.S. citizen, is really difficult. And so I actually went and looked up the test and took some practice questions and wrote down 2 of the easiest questions I found and 2 of the hardest ones I found. And one of the easiest ones was, if the president can no longer serve, who steps up? And it was a multiple choice question, and the answer was the vice president. That's the only other word that had president in it, so I would assume that that would be one that was fairly easy. And another one of the questions was, what is on the east coast of the United States? That was one of the hardest ones on there. And it gave you 3 different ocean options. The Atlantic Ocean is on the east coast, correct? Is everybody geography coming on? Okay. So now I want to go into a little bit of an analogy to help us understand this a little bit more. One of the arguments is that the naturalization test is really, really hard. Well, who knows the economy is really hard right now? Who knows it's really hard to get a loan? It's really hard. So if I go into the bank and it takes a lot of paperwork and a lot of work to go in and get this loan, but I'm like, well, I really need $1 million because I want a better life for my children. And so I go in and I take $1 million, that's classified as an undocumented loan. And that's also, I don't know if you know this, we are classifying illegal immigrants and illegal aliens as undocumented workers. So let's say I have this undocumented loan, $1 million, and I go out and I buy myself a house with it and I buy my parents a house with it. When I am found out, do I get to keep that house? Yes or no? Do my parents get to keep the house I bought for them? Yes or no? Why? Because it's not my money and it never was to begin with. You see what I'm saying? That is how I view immigration. It wasn't their money to spend to begin with. Therefore, when they're found out here, taking our tax money, squatting on houses that are vacant or whatever they do, it wasn't theirs to begin with. They need to go home and start the process over.
We're going to talk about the kids of these illegal aliens a little bit as well. A lot of illegal aliens will bring their kids over here, or they'll come over pregnant, or they'll come over here and have kids. Coming over here illegally is a crime. I think everyone knows that.
You're at 8 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Like, Caitlin will have 2 to 3 minutes to rebuttal.
Can you share the rebuttal?
Yes.
I was just watching the most recent thing you heard. Kaylee was talking about an undocumented loan and how immigrants don't deserve the money or the housing or the stuff that they get. Don't forget that they come over here for an opportunity to work. They do jobs, they work jobs that are really what most Americans classify as low, and what many Americans think in their minds for some reason that they're too good to do. That these guys are coming over and they're doing construction work and they're being garbage men and they're picking up after people and they're being janitors and sewage people. They're taking care of stuff that many Americans think that they're too low to do. They work for their money. So don't just think that they're coming over here and they're taking money. They work for it. And the story about the citizenship kind of defends the area that we were going to go, in that the citizenship testing is very long and grueling process, and it's a very difficult process. And many questions are questions that when we looked over, we didn't even know. And we've been in American schooling and learning government and stuff like that. And if we don't know it, it's going to be very difficult for them to know it. And that just defends their reasoning for crossing the border, what we say illegally, and their reasoning behind sneaking over here is because you know, it could take them 10 to 11 years to be able to provide a way for their family to be successful and to, you know, provide an opportunity for them to live a blessed life.
Just to touch on Sam's statement, I have an aunt and she came over here legally. And she spoke to me about how long the process was and how hard and difficult it was just for her and her sister to complete the process. The process takes, like in Sam's case, over 12 years. It took them 12 years just to become a citizen. This means during those 12 years, they're being oppressed and they're being held back when really they can be contributing to our society, contributing to each and every one of us. They can be helping, and because when people come over here, they buy products. What do you pay when you buy products? You pay tax on that. They really help our economy. And finally, their last point that they were speaking on when they were talking about how people are just getting pregnant, coming over here, having a baby, and oh, anchor babies, now they're a citizen of the U.S. That's untrue. Actually, in 2011, 108,000 parents of anchor babies are deported every year. So what do we do with those babies? Well, our only option is to stick them into foster care, which is going to cost each family $26,000 to $30,000 to afford that child in foster care.
All right, give you guys a second to regroup, and then you'll have your 7 to 8 minute presentation of your side.
So we understand that immigration is a problem, and we are not for illegal immigrants illegally coming to this country. That is not the basis that we're standing on. But we can't ignore the fact that there's a lot of illegal immigrants here today. Now, what we want to focus on is what we're going to do with the illegal immigrants that live side by side with us every day. They're just average people. We can't look at them, dehumanize them for wanting to make a better life for their family. What we want to focus on is how can we make a naturalization process? And they're trying to pass a reform bill that will do exactly that. We want people to be able to come here and obtain their citizenship rather quickly so they can start contributing, so they're not taking away. So, to me, what we're doing by we're just deporting them, that is crushing the American dream. The American dream is coming here on nothing. You start, you work hard, and you grow in, and you rise to the top. You climb the ladder of success. Now, after that, if we just want to take anybody and we immediately deport them, to me, the light that America has been to the whole entire world for centuries, we're just diminishing it. We're dimming it. We're trying to put it out. And this is a land of opportunity, a land of hope. But when you tell people that, oh, I'm sorry, we can't be hope for you, you're not from here, what does that say to the rest of the world? So I want to talk a little bit about the financial burden that illegal immigrants are on this country. Actually, they did a survey from the Wall Street Journal, and they interviewed 46 economists, when 94% of them said that illegal immigrants have actually boosted the economy. Now, when you're looking at that percentage, that's only about 1 or 2 that disagreed with that statistic. So how do they help? Well, when they come over here, they have to live. So of course they're going to have housing, they're going to have food, and guess what they don't get? Since they are not completely documented, they don't get any type of welfare, so taxpayers are paying a lot more in welfare than we are for illegal immigrants in the first place. The only things that they can get is schooling, which in their property tax, which they do have to pay, their property tax is a large benefit to the school's money. So in a way, they are paying that. And emergency medical care. Now, it said if the reform bill is passed, it would decrease our deficit by 197 billion over the next 10 years. But that's if we act now. It talks about how legal immigrants are more likely to create jobs than take jobs. In the last 2 years, there's been 1.8 million of a loss in low-wage workers because of how great our educational system is and how much we're able to rise people. There's not a large class left to work the lower-paying jobs. But we're lacking American work ethic, especially if you're just in construction. You don't see a lot of class ranges who desire to work that. So when they come over here, that's the jobs that they're looking for. They're just trying to make good money for their family, or what they consider good. They're trying to build a hope for that family, and we're not going to be the ones that should take it away. Big businesses, a lot of their hirings come from illegal aliens. Now from this, if we take all of them away, those big businesses are going to fall, and the economy is going to fall with it. It talks about how in 211 alone, there was 46,000 parents of U.S. children were deported. Now this goes back to the anchor babies, and I believe Blake's going to talk a little bit about this.
Okay. For a second, I just want you to think about your family. I want you to think about your mom and your dad and how much they mean to you. And just think about how much they mean to your family, how much they mean to your household. Where you would be without them. I can tell you one thing, you wouldn't be in this classroom right here without your parents. If they're, like she said, in 2011, there were 46,000 parents of U.S. citizen children deported. And the way deportation works is they don't just call you up and be like, hey, we're going to deport you. I want you to meet us here, and we're going to deport you. They just come and pick you up. It doesn't matter where you're at. It can be right in front of the school picking up your child, which we've had an experience with. It can be picking up your child. It can be hugging your child. It can be whatever you're doing. They'll just come and snatch you up, and that can be humiliating for a family and really detrimental for a family. And when a parent is taken, children can't live on their own, so they go to foster care. And the total cost for foster care child is close to $26,000 per year. Children begin to associate all immigrants with illegal status. And regardless of their own identity or legal status, children are dissociating themselves with their immigrant heritage. So they're losing pride in themselves. We're crushing their pride, we're crushing their heart, we're crushing their dreams because we don't care about where they're at or how we do things. We just go snatch up their families and they don't know what to do anymore. They're losing their identity. And what we believe is that President Barack Obama can and should allow parents, especially those supporting U.S. citizen children, to stay in the country. Their children are U.S. citizens. They don't deserve to get what they're receiving. They deserve to have a little love and shown pride shown to them because they are an American. They belong here. And to go into the crime rates that they spoke about earlier, 4 to 7% of people in prison in the United States are illegal immigrants. 4 to 7%. That means about 95% is us. It's our people. It's Americans. It's not illegal immigrants. It's 4 to 7% of the entire United States is illegal immigrants. They contribute to tax by consuming products and contributing to property tax, which, like she spoke about earlier. There's still families coming here and they're living, so they're still going to have to pay. They're still going to have to buy groceries. They're still going to have to pay taxes for things. They're going to have to contribute to our society. They work jobs that most people wouldn't work to provide for their families. They contribute to the society. And my father owns a business where a lot of people are immigrants or temporary citizens, or they've earned their visa, and they're the hardest working people I've ever met because they're trying to provide for their families. They've not lost that sense of the American dream that many of us have. We've lost a sense of what hard work can bring and what hard work does. Just look at our government, look at our government officials. They've lost the sense of hard work. They've lost the sense of the American dream that these people are so eager to get and they're still hungry for it. Just think about that.
That was 7:23. You guys get 2 to 3 minutes. So cross-examine.
I want to be clear that we do not have a problem with work visas. They have clearly earned those, and there's an application process for those as well. So work visas, we do not have an issue with at all. And also when he was speaking about the crime rate and how 4 to 7%, there's obviously a bigger population of Americans than there are illegal immigrants. So yes, there is going to be a significantly amount less crime rate happening in the illegal immigration community because there's a lot more Americans than there are illegal immigrants. So, but also I'd like to go back to the ripping away of families and taking parents back with the anchor baby situation. I don't think that children should be a deciding factor in this at all, because if I commit a crime, if I go up to AJ and I viciously murder him, or even if I just shoot, whatever it is, if I murder AJ, when I go to the judge, is he gonna look at me and say, I'm sorry, do you have a child? Oh, if you have a child, you can stay out of jail because you need to be with your child. No. Excuse me. A law is a law. And laws determine what the punishment is for breaking them. Laws do not keep people from doing something or make them do something. It's a punishment. And right now we have a law in place and we need to follow what that law says. So, and we want the doors of opportunity to be open to illegal immigrants. That is not at all what we're saying. We do not want to close the doors off, and I hope you haven't gotten that impression. But we want them to do it the right way. Because in essence what happens is you kill the American dream that way. What happened to the hard work and success that people put into it? Why should they not have to put in that same hard work and same success? This is a benefit to everybody. The American way is to work hard and to earn what you have. If we establish a greater respect for our nation and its founding principles and working hard, then the illegal immigrants will too, and they will want to earn their visa the right way. If the American people set that example, we want others to be able to experience life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness the right way. Come through the naturalization process as it is now. If they truly want to be called, and if they truly want to feel like an American, they need to do it the American way.
I'm gonna give you guys a second, then you'll have 4 to 5 minutes to kind of close whatever you want to say.
45 minutes?
4 to 5 minutes. Everybody in the audience need to take a stretch break, stand up. What do y'all think? They're doing pretty well, don't you think? Yeah. I'm learning. You're learning. All right.
Okay. Also, we want to talk about that when babies do come over here and they are born here, they are a natural born citizen by the Constitution, because obviously this country was founded on immigrants. That's what this country is made up of, correct? And so we do not have a problem at all paying for that child to be in foster care. That is not our position. Our position is the mother who is not an American citizen, who is not a natural born here, we do not need to pay for her. She needs to go home and leave the baby here, or she can take the baby with her back home. If she really wants the best for her child, she either would have done it the correct way through getting these papers and getting her citizenship, or she would leave the baby in foster care as it is a natural born citizen by our Constitution. And going back to businesses that are run by these immigrant workers, did you know that when the owner of a business is found employing illegal aliens, they're the ones that are taxed, not the person who's working here illegally? Punish the person who's trying to give out work. and trying to stimulate the economy, but don't punish the person who's doing it illegally, that's not how America should be run.
I want to touch a little bit on the best interest of all, on Americans and illegal immigrants. It is the best interest for all of us to send them back home when they are found out for several reasons. I don't think it's right when they commit a crime or they've killed somebody and they've already come over here illegally and it's just like, oh, let's put them in jail and just leave them in jail forever and they can just live on taxpayers' money and be in the jail and get money that we work hard for. It hurts the wallets of American people to pay for the births of illegal babies and to house illegal aliens. It will show that illegal aliens that Americans will stand behind their word. We want to stand behind our word and we want to stand behind our Constitution and not be like, oh, we'll just let them stay and be all nice. But we were founded on these principles, so I think we should stand by what is said in the Constitution and not be lenient just towards a group of people just because they want to come over here. They can go back to their home. They came from somewhere, so they can go back there. They can work hard where they are from. I understand they can come here too and live the American dream and the American way, but they need to come over here the right way and go through the paperwork, and I think that's the right way to do it.
It will also show that America will not let criminals or the crimes they commit fly under the radar. No matter the cause, no matter what brought on the crime, we have to stand by our laws. And in the long run, it will give immigrants a healthy respect for America. And will also reward the immigrants who went through the right process, the right way, and have proven themselves successful and have put in the hard work instead of punishing those who have done it the right way. Thank you.
So I'd like to start off by settling a miscommunication that I believe we have had. We are not pro-illegal immigrants. We are pro making the naturalization process easier. Now, when people come over here and they say, oh, they just want to take, the people that come over here, they have a strong work ethic. They come over here to provide for their families just like every one of your parents. But guess what? Your parents had the blessing of being born here, as of each and every one of us did. They wanted to talk about, oh, what if I murder someone? There's a difference between criminal and civil crimes. Coming over here illegally is counted as a civil crime, and the only punishment is deportation as we have now. Now what we would like to do is provide an option for them to come through the naturalization process where they can live a citizen just like me and you, but without the whole 12-year process, because they're trying to escape their home country. Why? They're not just immigrants from Mexico, as we want to typically believe in the South. They're from all over the world. They come from Europe, they come from Asia. I don't care what continent it is, they come from there. And they're looking at America to be that hope. Now, during that, they're trying to come here for safety reasons. A lot of these countries are under hard government oppression. That's why they're looking at us to provide a solution for them. And that's what we want to do. We want to provide a solution for them. We want to work with them, for us. They talked about how they're coming over here and stealing jobs. They're coming over here and they're getting jobs available because we're not willing to take those jobs in the first place. They said punish the large businesses. If we punish the large businesses, they're going to collapse, along with our economy. Small businesses, I'm aware, drive our economy. Immigrants are coming over here, obtaining their citizenship, which we want them to do, and they're creating small businesses. Look at different fast food restaurants. Look at different gas stations. Who's working there? Who started that business? Who provided more jobs? So I believe Blake has us some solutions.
Like she said, we're not pro-immigrants, we're just pro-solution. We want a solution that will make the nation work better. We're not looking for a solution that makes it easier access for them or makes Americans just happier. I mean, that's not what it's about. It's about what's best for our country. And a couple of solutions would be a fair tax option, an option where each family is taxed what they deserve. what they are able to pay. And you look at a family and you look at the income that they bring in, and you can look at what they have available, and you can tax them accordingly. Also, instead of deporting all families and all people, you look and see if they have children. If they have a U.S. citizen children, keep them here, because the way that we deport people, we just take people up and we deport them. We don't give them an option of, do you want to take your baby or not? Because obviously they say yes every time. They want their child. They love their child. We just pick them up and we deport them. And then we go pick up their child and put them into a foster care home. That's not an option that we give them. There's not paperwork that they fill out of, would you like your baby? I mean, obviously that answer would be yes every time, but we don't give them that option. We have to think about what's best for our country, and what our country thrives on is loving everyone. And our country has always thrived on what is best for the world. We've always been that idle piece that everyone always wanted because it was best for the world. We care about what's best for everyone. And what's best for everyone is a love and something that provides for everyone. We are the land of opportunity. We are the place that provides this American dream. And they don't get that unless they can come over here and grasp it for themselves. They're not coming over here and we're giving it to them. They're coming over here and taking it because they're working for it. And so I think that they should be rewarded for that. Where in the world is hard work not rewarded? Like she said, in small businesses, immigrants are taking jobs. They're not taking jobs. They're being given them because they're the ones that work for them. They run small businesses because they do the work. And that's what they're getting rewarded for, is work. Work does get money because it's getting paid for your work. It's a reward for your work that you put in. And so a solution would be to keep them here because they are working for it. Yes, they should pay taxes. I'm not saying that they should not do the same things that any American would. But the long and grueling the process is just way too long and grueling.
Sorry. All right. So both sides have presented. You've got all the evidence. Mr. Martin, our moderator.
All right. Again, if the audience has any questions, you are allowed to do it. If you don't mind, I'm going to give opportunities for each side as we go. So if you have a question for, how are we saying the teams? Amnesty, I don't know how to. Left and right, I don't know. So if you have a question, just raise your hand, and I'll let you ask that to him. Keep in mind that your job is not to argue with the debaters. All right, merely to ask the question. So, are there any questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
This side, this is called.
That side.
So, that side, this side, that side. So you do believe that it is okay, in a sense, to take away the parents away from their children? You think
Yes.
that's okay?
Yes.
Completely if they come here.
If the baby is born here, the baby is a citizen, period, by the Constitution, by everything that our country believes in, the baby is a citizen. The mother and the father who conceived this baby are not citizens unless they were born here as well. So my two options for them would be to leave their child here, and we can put it into a foster home because it is an American citizen, and we as Americans will take on the burden is a negative connotation, but we will take on this baby because it is an American citizen. But the parents who have not paid into the system at all, no.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? So, I think theoretically you have a strong position. However, practically, ultimately we are separating a child from his mother. And as Americans, I think our general disposition is kind of towards helping people and not hurting people.
Right.
That's a real situation. And like it's been mentioned, we've had situations like that at LCA. Is this acceptable?
I mean, we've also had situations at LCA where parents have been ripped away from families for crimes they've committed. And Caitlin mentioned that there's a difference in civil and violent crimes, but a crime is a crime, and there is a punishment for them. And if deportation is the current punishment we have for breaking this law, we've got to stand strong with it. Or else who's to say that somewhere down the road, oh, I have a and I understand the emotional side of the argument, because yes, it is a child, but, yes, it is a parent bond, but it's not your ticket to stay here. Your ticket to stay here is a green card, a working visa, and the proper paperwork, not a child.
Can I ask a question? Do you think that most of these illegal immigrants who come over who cross the border, and I guess I'm thinking Mexico, do you think that they're aware of the fact that that's a risk they're taking? Hey, if I have a baby in the U.S., it has to stay here if I get deported. Do you think they know that? Or are they, unaware that that's a possibility? Did you guys find anything in your research about that?
I know that immigrants usually, we didn't exactly look that particular point up. However, I know that they know that if they have a baby here, they stay. Unless they are found out and then the deportation process begins. But I don't know for a fact that they know that their baby is going to be ripped away from them. I'm sure that they've heard stories, because those are the kind of stories that you hear about.
So they're aware of the risk that
I would
they're
assume that the majority of people are aware of their risk.
And I think these people mostly know that they're taking a risk. They know, because there's been people who have died trying to come over here. I think they know that there's a risk between coming over to America and not. There's a risk that I think they know that they could get found out. I think that they know they're taking that risk and they're coming over here. They're committing a crime, but if they're willing to take that risk to come over here, we understand that they want a job and they want to live here. But there's a way to come over here, like my grandparents did. They worked hard. They worked hard here. They started out with a small home, but they worked hard. Now they're back in Portugal and they're living their American dream, and
Any questions for the opposing team? This side.
This side. They were saying that, on that side, that, the solution, if you find out that someone is an illegal immigrant, to deport them. And if their child is legal, they stay here. What, in your side's opinion, is the most, the ultimate solution? If you find out that there's an immigrant here, what are y'all gonna do about it? Are you gonna deport them too?
Our personal opinion on the idea of families is that, was it the Huffington Post that said it about Rocket Mom? And it was Wall Street Journal that said Barack Obama can and should allow parents, especially those supporting U.S. citizens, to stay in the country. And I actually agree with that completely. That if you have a child, that you should at least be given the opportunity to take your child with you, or to at least figure out a way to have that child taken care of. I don't think we should just deport a parent and then throw the child in foster care, because that is what happens. We just get rid of them, and we think that the problem's resolved, and foster care just keeps going up. And just as a country, I don't believe that we are okay with alienating a child. I don't believe that.
Like Blake was saying, we believe in strong family values, which America has always had a foundation in. And so I would not want to rip a mother and child apart. I assume all the parents in the room, y'all understand this. And to me, if somebody's coming over here and they realize that the risk is death, but they're still willing to come over here because of what they're trying to escape, and they're willing to die for that, I find total support in that. But I believe you're asking not just for the parents, right? Any illegal immigrants. That's why we are for a naturalization process that's shorter and easier than what we have now. Because it's so long that are we supposed to deport them for the 12 years that it takes them, or for the couple of years that it takes for them to get their working visa? We just want to provide a in-U.S. opportunity for that citizenship.
Did not think we were gonna run out of time.